In this video, we will relate some of the movie scenes in our lesson Neurons and Synapses. We will use the scenes in the movie as a reference, example, or scenario how our synapses and neurons really works. In the Pain and Gain movie, there are a lot of scenarios that we can use, and in this video we will use first is the erectile dysfunction, the scene where the woman was injected by the tranquilizer, and lastly, the cocaine addiction of one of the characters there.
The movie Pain and Gain is about a bodybuilder and fitness instructor named Daniel Lugo, who is tired of having an average life and wants to achieve the so-called American dream. One day he attended this workshop where he learned to be a doer, and this pushed him to venture the path to crime. Along with his fellow bodybuilder Adrian and ex-convict Paul, Daniel executes his plan to kidnap his wealthy client Victor and take all his money. The three also intended to kill Victor so that he will not be talking to the police, but they failed to do so. The three also targeted another wealthy person, but that wealthy person died due to Daniel's outrage. This also ultimately led to the three getting captured by the police.
Let's just first discuss the neuron. So what is neuron? Neurons is considered as the building blocks of the brain because our brain and the nervous system has billions of them. A function of a neuron is to transmit information to and from different parts of the body, and neurons comes with different shapes and sizes depending on the function, but this is what a prototypical neuron is like. So let's just briefly discuss the different parts of the neuron. First is the soma, or the cell body. So it organizes and keeps the cell functional. Next is the dendrites. It receives signals from other cells. The next is the cell membrane, and it protects the cell. And axon hillock, it generates impulse in the neuron. Node of Ranvier allow diffusion of ions. Next is the nucleus. It controls the entire neuron. And next is the axon. Axon transfers signals to other cells and organs. And myelin sheath, it increases the speed of the signal. Schwann cell, it produces the myelin sheath. And last but not the least, the axon terminal. It forms junctions with other cells. Let's now proceed to discuss the synapses.
As mentioned earlier, neurons are the cells that transfer information from your brain to the rest of your central nervous system. Then a synapse is a small gap at the end of a neuron through which a signal can flow from one neuron to the another. In short, it's going to be a means of communication between the neurons. Scientifically specifying, a synapse is this point of contact between axon and dendrite. Synapses are highly organized, structured that allows fast and highly selective cell interactions. Synaptic transmission involves the release of neurotransmitters from presynaptic neurons and their detection at the surface membrane of postsynaptic neurons, where these chemicals act on the receptor dendrites member to change its polarization or electric potential. Net depolarization causes from excitatory synapses, and net hyperpolarization is from inhibitory synapses. Furthermore, the faster the axon fires, the bigger the effect it has on the cells with which it synapses. And all neuronal information processing occurs in terms of excitatory and inhibitory effects. They are the foundation of human cognition.
As we all see in the movie, Adrian suffers from erectile dysfunction due to anabolic steroid abuse, causing him being unable to get and keep an erection, or as his wife, his denders call it defeated Palos syndrome. Anabolic steroids are man-made testosterone that healthcare providers use to treat hormone problems in male, delayed puberty, and muscle loss due to disease. But some people misuse it, like the common misuse of it in the bodybuilding field. Bodybuilders use it to increase their muscle mass and make it more bulky, just like what Adrian did in the movie, by taking it through injection or orally with doses higher than those of medical appropriate doses.
Study shows that anabolic steroids can increase serotonin levels in brain regions involved in mood and dopamine levels in reward-related brain regions. An increase in serotonin may affect other hormones and neurotransmitters such as testosterone, which is being linked to sex drive, and dopamine, who is responsible for sexual motivation, which causes sexual dysfunctions including erectile dysfunction. And one of the examples of it is similar to Adrian's problem in getting up his sexual organ is those who are using SSRI or the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, in which erectile dysfunction is one of the common side effects. SSRI is reported to cause its user having difficulty being aroused or maintain arousal and even reach orgasm.
Tranquilizers increase the impact of neurotransmitter named GABA, which lowers activity in some neurons in the brain. The possibility of death due to consuming 2 shots of tranquilizer is influenced by multiple factors, such as the type and quantity of tranquilizer taken, over health conditions, and the presence of other medications or substances that may interact with it. Gaya na panood natin sa movies, 2 beses tinurukan ng tranquilizer si Christina. Sa unang turok is nanghina siya. Sa pangalawang turok naman is nawala na siya ng malay, then doon na siya
Central nervous system o CNS depressants are medicines that include sedatives, tranquilizer, and hypnotics. These drugs can slow brain activity, making them useful for treating anxiety, panic, acute stress, reactions, and sleep disorders. When people overdose on CNS depressants, their breathing often slows or stops. This can decrease the amount of oxygen that reaches the brain, a condition called hypoxia. Hypoxia can have short and long-term mental effects and effects on the nervous system, including coma and permanent brain damage.
Base sa napanood namin na movie kung saan si Paul ay nag-take ng cocaine, nawalan siya ng amor sa lahat ng bagay, which is naging aligaga siya, nawalan siya ng focus, at naging high siya ng super sa trabaho niya. At parang hindi niya na alam kung ano yung tama sa mali na ginagawa niya. Drugs like heroic and cocaine have their effect by including increased levels of dopamine from this.
Itong mga dopamine neurons na to ay nag-show ng mga increased activity sa iba't ibang activities na mayroong positive rewards, including food and sex, and also social rewards like money or sports car. Thus, they might appear to be more neural equivalent of subjective utility. All mammals have the dopamine system that we just described, which give them a basic ability to seek things that are rewarding and avoid things that are harmful. However, humans, by virtue of their greatly expanded prefrontal cortex, have the capacity to reflect on circumstances and select actions other than what their more primitive system might urge.
And for the conclusion part, all in all, these substances, specifically the steroids, the cocaine, and the horse tranquilizer, can cause the nervous system to slow down or speed up the transmission of messages between the brain and the rest of the body. And for the movie itself, its vision is that no pain, no gain. So just like in our life, that the pain is a signal that we are learning something new. And for the neurons that are weak, unused, or don't fit the job are pruned. And for the neurons that are exercised are become stronger and develop more connection.
In addition to that, according to the book, human cognition is achieved through large patterns of neural activity. Anyways, pwede nating i-relate dito yung pagiging goal-oriented ni Daniel as he wanted to achieve the so-called American dream. He wanted more money and success. According to the book, researchers found activity in more and more regions of the brain as participants went from hearing words to hearing sentences to hearing meaningful stories. So, kumbaga, meron silang driving force para gawin yun. In general psychology, pwede rin natin siyang i-associate sa drive reduction theory of motivation ni Clark Hall, which states that the reduction of drives is the primary force behind motivation. This indicates that our understanding of a meaningful story involves activity in many regions of the brain. So that will be all, and thank you.